Gina, I'm glad you're here today. Risk versus reward. I was looking back at some of my old statements myself from jobs that I had from 25 years ago. The allocation I have between stocks and bonds. And this is what you need to know, right? I mean, this is what we look for the long term.
First of all, thanks for having me, Nicole. And yeah, you're right. I'm always surprised when people come in, they want to invest, and they don't often read their statements. And finding the right balance is difficult. It's not a one-size-fits-all. But first, you need to take an inventory of where you're at. And I think sometimes investors make the mistake of just looking at their investment account. What you want to do is take an inventory of all of your assets. Any cash, your retirement accounts, any non-retirement accounts, and then you can be able to take a look at your asset allocation and what that should be.
What kind of cash position are you recommending now for folks? I know younger probably are more aggressive, older you're a little more conservative, but give us some examples and ideas of how you're doing allocation these days.
Well, allocation is really a function of a couple of things, and some of the easy questions would be, what's your time horizon? What are your income needs? How much income do you need and when do you need it? So those are the easy questions. I think what's more difficult is to determine what is your risk tolerance. Your risk tolerance is really, how are you going to react? What's your emotional reaction to stock market volatility? And we used to ask hypothetical or abstract questions like, what would you do if the market dropped 20%? Well, now we don't have to talk in the abstract anymore. And now we don't need hypothetical questions. And we can really take a look now and have a gut check on what somebody's risk tolerance is and, what they should do.
Right. And so if someone is going into retirement, they don't have that much risk tolerance. So what would you recommend for somebody like that? I mean, do you put them in more bonds? Do you put them in more cash? Or do you pick some long-term ETFs? What do you say to them?
Well, if they're going into retirement, I mean, they do need some percentage of their money in stocks, right? Because they need growth. They need to keep up with inflation. And I think that's a mistake sometimes people make, is that just because you're going into retirement, you need to dial down all of the risk in your portfolio. That's not really true. If you're a long-term investor, more than 10 years, then you really need to put on your noise-canceling headphones and really just stay the course with the market. But the point is that right now is a great time to take a gut check and really be honest with yourself about what your risk tolerance is. You mentioned earlier that we bounced off the lows on March 23rd. We saw the market significantly lower than it is now. So I do think that now could be a good opportunity to maybe make some changes in your portfolio if you're feeling it's too much for you, or if you're feeling that your risk tolerance has changed.
Right.
So I would say you should be honest with yourself.
Good advice.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Look in the mirror and know. And you know what? This was a good test. This sell-off was really a good test. Now people really know their risk tolerance because they had to live it. Gina Bolvin, thank you so much. Great to see you. President, Bolvin Wealth Management Group. Thank you, Gina.